Hello, and welcome to the Oreo Reviewer. Now, it's been a while since the last episode of the Oreo Reviewer. Such delays are inevitable in the production of a long-running internet television show, but this delay was exceedingly long, and it will be explained in due time as we continue throughout the course of the review. But, first off, let's start by talking about the Oreos which I have in front of me today. Now, several differences are apparent in just by looking at the box that the Oreos are contained in. For the first obvious one being that the box is much smaller than the Oreo boxes that traditionally appear on the Oreo Reviewer show. The next being that the text on the box is written in complete gibberish. Yeah, that's right, guys, there was one big typo. These Oreos were completely messed up by the factory. That was a joke. Ha ha ha. We like to have fun here on the Oreo Reviewer show. If you couldn't tell, these Oreos hail from the second largest world economy, that is, China. Now, as history has progressed forward, the world has slowly become more globalized, and it was only time before some Oreos from China would find their way onto the Oreo Reviewer show. As the world becomes more and more connected, the Oreo Reviewer hopes to review even more Oreos from even more countries. But for first, let's start off with some Chinese Oreos. Now, as we can see right on the box, we have two interesting figures on these sides here. Now, presumably, this word is Oreo, which it would be obvious given our familiarity with Oreo logos, but I'm not so sure these aren't meant to be taken as symbols entirely. Now, you see over here what looks to be a lot like the Pringles man, and over here what also looks to be a lot like the Pringles man. And this Pringles man appears to be holding a monkey wrench, and this Pringles man appears to be holding an upturned bar stool, and perhaps they're fighting. Now, this would be evidenced even further by what appears on this box. Below the presumed Oreo logo, remember, it's only presumed, we have what appears to be the flavor of the Oreo in a mango-colored font, which is rather misleading when compared with the raspberry and the blueberry that adorn the right side of the box. And then here's the cookie, which is split down the middle by color, pink on this side and purple by this side. My theory about this whole box is that it's meant to represent the duality of Chinese politics. For years now, China has been split over which way it should go. This was most personified in the battle between Chiang Kai-shek and Mao Zedong. And here, this appears to be quite like Chiang Kai-shek in many senses, and this could be a stand-in for Mao Zedong, and here they are, fighting. But enough about Chinese politics and history. Let's talk about the Oreos themselves. Now, when we turn the box over to open it, as has been done before, once again on the Oreo Reviewer show, we find that our Oreos have already been opened, even though this time I'm not quite sure how that happened, considering that I worked very hard to get these out of the Chinese country. The reason the Oreo Reviewer show has been off the internet air for so long is because I was actually detained over in China for trying to smuggle too many Oreos out of there. It was rather suspicious when I had a full suitcase full of them and they had to withhold my visit back to the United States until they could ascertain exactly what was going on. Once they realized, however, that I was a pretty big internet celebrity, they realized they had to release me, or else there would be riots. Now, this does not explain for the tampered seal, and I am just as surprised as the audience, but perhaps one day we'll find out exactly how this happened. Now, here lies a sleeve of cookies, which appears to have been tampered with, but once again, I am clueless as to what is causing these discrepancies between traditional Oreo packaging and the Oreo packaging that we currently see in front of us. So, it is time on the Oreo Reviewer Show, as it is always time for on every episode of the Oreo Reviewer Show eventually, and that is the consumption of the Oreo. Now, I'm looking forward to this consumption, as I have in the past enjoyed Chinese food, my favorite being sesame chicken, so I'm excited to learn what the Chinese culture has brought to this Oreo. So, without further ado, here goes what is some fans' favorite part of the Oreo reviewing process. Well, it's not the worst Oreo I've ever had on the Oreo Reviewer Show, but it's certainly not the best ever that I've ever had. That would be the birthday cake golden Oreo, for those of you keeping track. A cookie which I didn't actually have on the show when you think about it, because that was a chocolate Oreo. That was a test for all you fans who are sticklers for continuity out there. But without further ado, let me give you the score of this Oreo, which is sadly not all that great. This Oreo gets a Sun Yat-Sen out of a Empress Dowager. That's a reference for all you Chinese history fans out there. But hopefully this was not China's only foray into the Oreo world, and certainly with their rapid growth and massive population, I can only guess that it won't be long before they produce a standout Oreo that will have the world on its knees, or at least on its elbows. A fun joke indeed. And that's been the Oreo Reviewer Show for this day. Have a nice night, and stay happy.